Hello there and welcome back to the channel. Today we have two, yes you heard me right, two, not one lesson for you. The first one is how to deal with outliers in your data, and the second one is how to deal with inconsistent values. So let's get right into it. As we can see, we have three numeric values in our data, that is the sales variable, the cost variable, and the revenue variable. But for the sole purpose of this lesson, we will just be making use of the cost variable. And to calculate or to deal with these outliers, we'll be making use of the z-score method. Here we have the z-score formula, where you have that z is equals to x minus mu over sigma. Here we have our mu. Our mu is the mean or average numeric value, and the sigma is the standard deviation of the numeric value, and the x here is the individual numeric value. So for this, we want to subtract the average cost from each value of the cost variable and divide the results by the standard deviation of the cost. So let's go ahead and calculate the average and standard deviation here. But before then, let's see what an outlier is. So an outlier is like any extreme lowest value, or in some cases highest value, relative to the regular values of a particular variable. That is what we call an outlier. So any value that is way beyond or way lower than the regular values you have in a particular variable is called an outlier. So let's go ahead and calculate the average and the standard deviation for the variable cost. So we initiate the formula with an equal sign and then average. We double click and then we select the range, and that is the whole cost variable, and then we click on enter. So we can see our average score, it is quite huge. Let's go ahead and do the same for standard deviation. So as usual, an equal sign, then standard deviation. Here we select the range of values, which is the whole column B, and we click on enter. So that is the standard deviation of the cost variable. From this value we can see that there is so much variation, and it's also saying that there is a presence of an outlier. So let's go ahead and calculate the z-score, since we have gotten the average cost and the standard deviation. First off, we have to insert a new column between the cost variable and the revenue variable. So we say insert, we say column to the left. So there we have it. So this column will be used as a z-score for cost. So let's go ahead and perform operational subtraction. We subtract the average cost from individual cost. So we initiate with an equal sign, then double bracket, then the first cost value, that is under B2, and we say minus the average cost, which is under I10, and then divided by a standard deviation, which is under I11. So what we want to do is that we want to make sure that we have the mean and the standard deviation constant for all values. So we introduce a $sign before the row number and before the column number. That is just for the mean and standard deviation. And then we click enter. So for this, the z-score is minus 0.04. So we come here, you can see a transformation cursor something. We double click on it, and as you can see, we have the z-score for our remaining cost variable. So what we want to do is increase the decimal number, or the decimal places for it. So this is fine. So to find our outlier, the first thing we'll do is to sort. So we're going to sort from highest to lowest to see if any of the z-score is above +3, and then we're going to sort again from lower value to higher value to find any z-score that is lower than -3. So let us proceed in sorting the column where we have z-score for cost. So proceed to the first of all, we'll click on any cell here and proceed to the data tab, and then we'll go to sort, and we say click on descending. So here we can see that we have a z-score which is greater than 3. So what we'll do is to fill it in just to easily identify it. So we'll proceed to the home tab and we'll go to fill with the red color. We equally fill here. So let's go ahead and sort in an ascending order and see whether we have outliers. So to the data tab, sort ascending. We can see that there is no value under the z-score that we have lower than -3. So we'll go ahead and replace this outlier we have here with the average cost. That is, we are going to calculate the average cost, but this time around we are going to exclude the outlier. So we would have average cost excluding outlier, then we introduce our equal sign, and we go average, double click, then we select the range of values. Remember, we are excluding the outlier, so then we click on Ctrl plus Shift plus the arrow button downwards to select the rest of the values, and then we click on enter. So we can see that we have our average cost excluding the outlier. So the next thing we'll do is to replace this, to use this new average cost as our replacement for the outlier that we have over here. So let's proceed. First off, so the next thing we'll do is to copy the outlier we have under the cost variable. Then we'll proceed to find and replace. So click on replace. So we're going to find this value that Control V. Then we're going to replace it with 624.58 and say replace all. So one replacement has been made. Click OK, and then we close the dialog box. So as we can see, we've been able to replace this outlier. Then the next thing we'll do is to remove the color field that we had before, because we've treated the outlier obviously. But looking at the score for cost, you'll see that we have an outlier here, and slightly, should we say this is an outlier? I think so. So I'm sure you'll be able to deal with this on your own, so make sure you try it out. So let's proceed to the next topic, which is dealing with inconsistent values. So let's talk about dealing with inconsistent values, both numeric and categorical data. This one is really easy, so let's just breeze through it. Here we have 3 numeric data or variables and 1 categorical variable. So we want to find whether there is any inconsistent data within the cost variable and the product variable. Our first task is to identify the inconsistent value, and then we replace it with the value that is the most representative. So we can say that an inconsistent value is a value that seems wrong or out of place compared to other related values. So first thing we'll do is to sort, since we're working with the cost variable and product variable, we'll start with the cost variable, that is numeric data. So we'll have to sort the data from the highest to the smallest. So click on any cell under the cost variable, then under the data tab we go to sort, then we say click on descending, and right here we can see that there is an inconsistent value. It doesn't belong here. So how are we going to replace this inconsistent value? It is just by finding the average cost, and then we use it to replace over here. So let's get on with it. So before then, let us mark this particular inconsistent value so that we'll be able to easily identify it. So we'll fill it with the color red. Again, you can use any color that you wish. to use. So I have average cost excluding the inconsistent value. So we initiate the formula with an equal sign, then we go average, double click, we then select the range of values excluding that value, that is the inconsistent value. So press Ctrl Shift plus the arrow button downwards, then we click enter. So we can see our average cost over here. So let's try and reduce the decimal places. Let's make it just 2 decimal places. So that is fine. So next thing we'll do is to go over to the home tab and go to find and replace. So all I'm going to do is replace this average cost here, and then we've dealt with the inconsistent value. So we'll go to find and replace, sorry, first let me copy this so it's easier. Okay, now I'll go over to find and replace. So what we intend on finding is this, and then replace it with replace it with 624.66, then save place all. So one replacement has been made. We'll click OK and close. Then we go back here and unfill this because we've dealt with the inconsistent value. So we're all done here. We have been able to replace and deal with an inconsistent numeric value. So let's go over to the categorical data. So for the categorical data, sorting cannot be used in this scenario. So for this, we have to calculate the unique values of the categorical variable. From there, we can identify the inconsistent value along with how many inconsistent data we have in this particular product variable. So for this, we'll be making use of the pivot table. So under the insert tab, we go to pivot table. So this is our range, that is column D, and then existing worksheet, then we click on OK. So on the field list, we drag the product variable to the rows and then also drag it to values. So we can see that we have product number A, B, C, and we have A, B, C, meaning this is an inconsistent value. So all we have to do is to replace this with the mode product value, which is product B, that has 168 count. So all we'll do is go to the home tab, go to find and replace. So all we want to find is ABC. So we'll go ABC, and then what we're replacing it with is product B, because that is the highest we have there. We say replace all, but we can see that one replacement has been made. We'll click OK, and then we'll close. So that's it, guys. You see that we've been able to replace and deal with inconsistencies, both numeric and categorical. Let's refresh this, and so when we refresh this, we can see that the inconsistency has been taken care of. So that's all for this video. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.